The Xbox Facebook page made a post about Black History Month, and it got over 1,000 comments, mostly people saying racist things. So I commented as Xbox and said, please be patient as we work to ignore all your racist comments.
Comedian Ben Palmer is back at it again, y'all.
One of the comments was from someone saying, next month will be for whites, right? Yes, we'll talk about their role in slavery, colonization, torture, the burning of cities, Jim Crow segregation, and police brutality.
And as he does, hateful idiots on the internet get trolled with Palmer racking up countless W's.
He wrote back and said, yeah, definitely switching to PlayStation. And then PlayStation responded and said, great. Can't wait for you to see our posts about Black history.
It's a phenomenal touch, but also exposes a problem we all know exists.
Terrence Miller is a star in the world of professional gaming, but one of his breakout performances at a major gaming tournament in 2016 was overshadowed by racial abuse he says he endured in real time as he competed.
There was a lot of racist and hateful messages posted. I never expected it to happen at the scale that it did.
In 2014, there was Gamergate, an organized campaign threatening women online.
Things have definitely gotten better, but I do still see stories of similar things happening to other people.
GMA spoke with a group of gamers. All of them say they've at some point hidden their identities while gaming online to avoid the harassment.
I would only chat with my friends and be in private parties just because of the verbal violence that is going on in the space.
You made a conscious decision at some point, Natasha, to keep people from knowing, one, you're a woman, and from knowing you're Black. In doing something you love that much, you still felt that's what you needed to do to participate in it.
I have gone through a very rigorous amount of online harassment that made me afraid to do that.
When folks of color are there making themselves visible within the space, they are subject to a whole host of inequalities.
Xbox, the platform the gamers in the GMA demonstration were playing on, said racism has no place in our community. Players exhibiting this behavior will lose access to Xbox Live. Only 2% of game developers are Black, according to an industry survey.
Preply found over 90% of gamers have experienced or witnessed emotional abuse or bullying while playing video games, and nearly 7 in 10 have considered quitting because of what they've witnessed. More than 2 in 5 have experienced racism, and more than 1 in 3 have experienced hate speech on gaming platforms, and Xbox and PlayStation see the highest rates of bullying. In 2020, after Derek Chauvin's murder of George Floyd, a number of major video game publishers and console makers released statements in support of racial justice, with many committing to some combination of monetary donations, reassessing internal policies, canceling events, suspending online play, and in some cases, placing a renewed focus on stamping out racism in their own online gaming communities. But in many cases, those same companies offered little detail when it came to addressing their intentions on that last point. The one which most directly impacts gamers, the silence in that regard left many in and around the gaming community wondering why even basic text-based instances of racism continue to persist in some of the world's most popular online video game communities. In 2019, the Anti-Defamation League found 65% of players have experienced severe harassment while playing games online, which includes physical threats, stalking, and sustained harassment, while 74% of online multiplayer gamers have experienced some form of harassment. CallOfDuty.com claimed the video game had banned over 350,000 accounts for racist names or toxic behavior based on player-submitted reports and an extensive review of our player name database, but it still appears these companies have fallen short in protecting its players, of course. Annabelle Ashley Anthony, who was inspired to launch Melanin Games after her brother Alan was the victim of racist attacks while playing Call of Duty as a young teen, said these efforts don't go far enough to stamp out racism. It's a minimalist effort at best, because it's been going on for so long, she said. It's crazy how long it's taken Activision Blizzard to even do something about it. It's a band-aid at best. In June 2020, Red Dead Redemption 2 also encountered bigotry. Users appeared to dress as Triple K in the game. The Twitter account Red Dead News added Rockstar Games, asking them to act. Companies that said Black Lives Matter were contacted by Kotaku, a gaming website. They were asked the specifics about what they actually plan to do to enact real and meaningful change. Some declined to comment, but have publicly stated They will do things like match employee donations to charities and nonprofits doing work in the space. Others have remained completely silent. Barely anyone was willing to go into more specifics. When the Washington Post reached out on the topic of racism, Sony, Microsoft, Nintendo, Rockstar Games, Ubisoft, EA, and Riot Games all declined to speak with the Post, opting to send statements or links to their policies and practices, which include the ability to block and report other gamers. Ubisoft's statement noted a planned player reputation system. In the past, permanent bans they've handed to pro players of Rainbow Six Siege.
All the gamers say yes, it has gotten better, and some of these companies have put in some things in place that can help, but it's not enough. This is a $150 billion a year industry. There's an estimated 2.5 billion gamers around the world. And can you imagine, guys, that's online. We know about social media and stuff, people hide behind a keyboard, but these folks can talk directly to you. Right? And so why you have to hide your identity to do something you love, or try to leave the community to do something you love. So it's not, you can't just dismiss it as, well, if you don't like it, just mute them, or you don't have to do it. Yeah. We wouldn't tolerate that in a workplace. We wouldn't tolerate it anywhere else. And this is why it's such a big deal for these folks. So doing everything else while black, gaming while black is also an issue.